Hello and welcome to Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game.
Hi.
Let's meet the panel.
Jim.
Courtney.
Charlie.
And Josh. And today is a very special day because it's Charlie's birthday.
Woo.
Happy birthday, Charlie.
Can I have my cupcake now?
No.
What are we going over today?
Today we'll be discussing Ragged Dick by Horatio Alger.
Ooh, remember that fondly from American Literature 2 class with our very own Dr. Bordelon,
And I was
who we'll be having on later this season.
Yes.
First question.
Okay, why don't we begin by mentioning Ragged Dick's flaws?
Ragged Dick.
As a text.
Was
Or-
a person.
As a person, we begin.
Well,
You go ahead, birthday boy.
thank you. Do I get a cupcake now?
No.
Oh my
How
god.
much editing we're gonna have to do.
No, Ragged Dick, he's poor. He's a shoe shiner. So back then, he didn't earn that much money shining shoes. Back then, like a quarter was worth a meal. So in the beginning of the story, he would go out and he would, if you dropped that, I'm going to be really angry. He would go out and he would go to the theater and he would spend all his money. So he smoked. Back then, anybody could get cigarettes. And then at the end, near the end of the story, he starts to, he saves his money. Then he can go out. He even helps some of his friends. He is always wanting to become respectable. Am I saying it right? Respectable.
Or they call it spectability.
Respectability. He wants respectability, and that means he wants to dress right. He wants to make a good impression, and because he feels that if I'm clean shaven, if I have a good hairstyle, if I'm dressed right, I'll get a better job. I will,
I feel the reason that they mention his flaws is because it goes to show you that he's not overly, he's not perfect.
Yeah,
and
none of
nobody's
us
perfect.
are. None of us are.
And
Look at me.
the fact that it goes to show you that anybody can obtain what Ragged Dick Hunter obtained
Yeah,
through
Dick is
hard work.
Dick is
and the
means
strive
Richard.
to do so.
Yeah, Dick is a nickname for Richard. So let's not have any misconceptions.
Jim, what are your thoughts?
I was going to say this book is somewhat flawed because it's built on a capitalist notion that hard work pays, right? But labor does not pay because capitalism by its nature thrives and depends on base inequity. There must always be a working class in order for the wealthy to exploit them and drive their businesses.
Yeah.
It's not always the case. It's not always the case that what you're saying is the case, but at the same time, there are plenty of occasions where you are correct.
Not all. There are plenty of bosses that are exploitive, and
Granted, if you're in a union for so long, if you work the several hours, you're able to obtain a pension, and
Yeah, you work your way through the ranks.
you're able to make an amount that you can retire off of.
That's
Nowadays, it's a bit different.
that's the central thing, isn't it? The need to unionize. That was the rise of socialism, the mobility of the worker. People organized and were like, we are going to demand these basic rights as a collective, for we are workers united.
We want better pay. We want better.
I don't necessarily agree with it. It just seems as if what Alger is trying to say is if you constantly provide, no matter what background you come from, if you're to work hard enough to obtain your goals, then you have a better chance of obtaining it than following the path that Dick was following.
I'm just saying big words from someone who founded a school and was obviously a man of means if he could publish in the 19th century.
What was your view, Courtney?
I I agree with you with what you're saying. You know, if you push for more, you're going to get more. Type of thing. Like, you know, if you want to be wealthy, you don't want to live in poverty the rest of your life, you work hard, you're going to get it. Eventually, it's not going to be easy and there's going to be a lot of stuff against you, but it shows through that you can get there.
Pretty fun point.
Huh? Yes, it is. What?
Next question.
Is the argument of what achieves respectability in the story an accurate one?
Pretty much so. It does not mean that everybody in a suit and tie is going to be deemed as
Worthy of respect.
Yeah,
Because
we have plenty of examples of that.
yes, we do.
But
We need not mention names.
yeah, but that also means that you're not going to dress up in tattered clothes and sagging pants and obtain respectability.
If I could, I want to go off on something. I saw this on my Facebook. It was a post someone put, and there was a brand new church that was opening up, and the pastor, before he was going, I think he was going to become the pastor of that church, and it was in the city, and he disguised himself as a poor man with with the beard, the unkempt, with the Nike shoes. I have nothing against, but he was dressed like a poor schmuck, and he had a little plate in front of the church on his knees, and the report said 3 people said hello to him. That was it. No one put anything in the plate. Then he goes into the church as he is. And they say, our new pastor is here. And everybody's giving him dirty looks. And now, I'm going somewhere with this. Trust me. They say, our new pastor, will he stand up? And this gentleman is actually the new pastor. He stands up. Everybody is clapping, and they start to see it's him. And they're like, what's he doing here? And then he goes up and he recites something from the Bible. About giving and to give before you take, love and all that good stuff you learn in Sunday school. And he said, we're not, we need to give. And then some people started to cry, and they were like, oh no, and he's like, I'm closing the ceremony. So even the clergy, they're not allowed to handle money. Certain clergy people can't handle money. And they were a white collar, most of them. They can't have money. That's the usher's job. Can I have a cupcake now?
Not yet.
As far as the theme of is it fair that the whole idea of the suit and tie and the new haircut and everything is
the
what
clean
commands
shave.
respect? Well, I think people by their nature command a degree of respect because there is basic human dignity at work.
Now, Ragged Dick was written for children in order to develop good morals. Does it seem to achieve this purpose? And can you see a reflection of that in modern times?
Well, it grows their principles, but it grows their very conservative and narrow principles. It doesn't encourage any sort of acceptance of the other. In fact, to a degree, it demonizes the other through its notion of respectability, through the attainment of successful role in capital.
To some extent, I think nowadays these ideas have begun to compromise because the code of conduct has become much more lax than it was back then.
Yeah, back then.
The idea of conservative meant something different
Right.
than. On our founding principles, to be conservative was to be very much similar to Royal Kingdom in England, ironically.
I picture it back in the 20s and 30s, 40s, starting to give way in the 50s to 60s. Gentlemen were expected to have shirt and tie. There were school uniforms, public or Catholic or whatever. If you watch old classic movies, even the talkies as they call them, they were all in suits.